Hey everyone, here's another lesson on beginner open guitar chords. Today we're looking at the D major chord. Now, to start off with this chord, pick up your guitar again and stand it upright so you're looking at your strings. Now take a look at the diagram up on the screen now. The line that's over on the left hand side of the page, that is your string that is on the left hand side as you look at your guitar now. That is the string that is normally closest to the roof. So the string over on the left hand side of the diagram, that is the thickest string, and the string that is closest to the roof. Now you'll notice that right at the top of the diagram there's an X written above that string. That means that we don't play that string. So this is the E string, we don't play that. Look at the string that's next to it on the diagram. That's your A string, or the second string down from the roof. There's also an X on that string. So we're not going to play the E and the A string. Moving on from that, you'll see that the string next to the A string that we've just been looking at, this is the third string from the left hand side, or the third string down from the ceiling, from the roof. That has got a 0 written on it above the diagram. That means that we need to pick that string and play that as an open string. An open string means that you play the string but you don't actually press it down with your fingers. So the third string down from the roof, that is going to be the first note that we're including in our chord. Right, moving on from that, if you again carry on imagining that you're looking at your guitar like this, actually pick it up this way. You'll see that on the next string across, we've got a black dot actually on the string. That means that we're going to be pressing that string down. Now this string, okay, we're almost on the other side of the guitar now. That string is the third string from the right hand side of your guitar. It's exactly the same on the diagram. It's the third string from the right hand side. Now follow that string down on the diagram and you'll see that at the bottom of it there's a 1. So get your first finger and put the first finger in the second fret on that string. So look on the diagram again. The spaces that go up and down the page, those are the individual frets on your guitar. You can see that the black dot, it's not written in the first space, it's written in the second space. So we've got to press that G string, the third string from the floor, with our first finger. Right, so pick up your guitar normally, make sure that you're pressing that note down. Pick the string, it should sound like that. As normal, you should know this by now, unless this is the very first chord you're learning, that you need to be trying to put your finger as close as you can to the actual metal bar. That is the fret itself, not the space, this is the fret. Put that there. If you don't put it close to it, the note might sound like that, it might be really buzzy, like that. You're not going to be able to keep that finger there as we start to put other fingers on. It's going to move back a little bit, but you always want to try and keep it as close to the second fret as you can. Right, looking on the diagram again, the next string we're going to be playing, it is the second string from the right hand side. That is our B string. If you know your string names, you'll know E, A, D, G, B, E. We're playing the B string. That is the second string up from the floor when you hold your guitar normally. 1, 2. Follow that string down. There's a 3 written at the bottom of it. So get your third finger on your fretting hand. Okay, that's the 1 next to your little finger. Press that down, put it on the string, and you can see that again, it's in not the first, not the second fret, but the third fret this time. So your third finger is going on the second string up from the floor on the third fret. Put your first finger back on, then put your third finger on. Pick the second string up from the floor. It should sound like that. Again, if it's buzzing, try and slide that third finger along. At this point, if you're struggling to actually reach that third finger onto the fret, it's probably because you've got your thumb up around here like this. As a general sort of rule, you should be keeping your thumb in the middle of the guitar's neck, around about there. If you see people playing guitar and they've got their thumb wrapped around like that, that's fine, that's not wrong, but it's quite difficult to do that unless you've been playing guitar for a few months and you're comfortable with where these fingers are going. So at this stage, you should have your first and your third finger pressing down on the guitar. Now we're going to put the final fretted finger down onto the guitar. And you'll see that this dot is on the far right-hand side of the diagram. Pick your guitar up. That is the string that is over on the far right-hand side, our E string. This black dot, just like the first finger, it's in the second space down the guitar. Follow that string down, you can see that there's a 2 written at the bottom of it. That means you're going to use your second finger. The second finger is your middle finger, which is the longest finger on most people's hands. So get your second finger, put it on the string that's closest to the floor, put it on the second fret. You might need to just lift your third finger off to see that a little bit more easily, but make sure you put your third finger back on. Pick the string closest to the floor. Should sound like that. And now you should have all of your fingers on at the right place. Do a couple of checks. Your thumb shouldn't be peeping over the top. It should be in the middle like that. You should have a gap underneath the neck between your hand, your palm, and the neck like that. You should only be touching the guitar with your thumb print and your fingertips like that. Your first and second finger should both be in the second fret on the guitar, and your third finger should be in the fret that's next to it. So at this stage, hopefully you've got all your fingers at the right place. Now, what we need to do now is pick the strings one at a time. Remember, we're not going to play the 2 strings closest to the roof. That's our E and our A string. We're going to pick the 4 strings that are closest to the floor. So let's do that now. The chord should sound like that. Now, what most people get to begin with is, if you're lucky, actually, you'll get this. You're probably going to find the E string, the hardest one to play. That's the one closest to the ground. The most common, well, there's 2 possible reasons for that. One of them might be that you're touching the E string with another finger, probably your third finger, because it's on the string that's next to that one. Here's a good test for that. If you're picking the string, that's happening. Try and lift your third finger off. If you've got to actually pick it up like that with your other hand and lift it off, that's okay. It takes a while until you can actually move your fingers one at a time when you're playing the guitar. So lift that third finger off and pick the string. If this happens, if it suddenly starts to work, then you've cracked it. You know that the third finger is touching that string, and that is what's stopping it. Now, if that doesn't make any difference, like that, the only real solution for it is probably that you're not pressing down hard enough with your second finger. So make sure that you're pressing all of your strings down with your fingertips. Can you see the little lines there that the strings have made on my fingers? Okay, that is where the lines roughly should be on your fingers. They shouldn't be on the fingerprints like that, okay, like a cross here. If that happens, your fingers are probably laying over like that straight, and it's going to be really hard to only press down one string at a time. So use your fingertips. Don't let the string slip between your fingertip and fingernail, because you won't be able to press down the string then. That is like, imagine that your string is here, being trapped underneath the nail. Make sure you're using your fingertip. The other way to make these strings work, okay, again, is to move your fingers as close as you can to the frets. If you have to get your fingers like this and move them along a little bit, that's okay. As long as they're close to the frets, that's going to help. And also make sure that you're actually pressing with your thumb as well. That is what my hand looks like if the guitar was, invisible. Your thumb should be behind where your fingers are, like that. If your thumb's really high up like this, you're not pressing your fingers and your thumb together like that. So slide your thumb down to the middle of the neck on the back like that. And make sure that you've got your wrist bent a little bit like that. Right, so hopefully this has helped you play a D major chord. If you're really struggling to read these actual chord diagrams, go back and look at one of my other videos for the E minor chord, because I spend a little bit more time there teaching you how to read the chord diagram. At this point, if you can't already play them, you should go and practice the A and E chords as well, because A, E and D are quite often used together in a lot of songs.